many people think that the Pope being able to speak infallibly is just an 1870 invention, but this is actually mistaken. If we look back at the early church fathers, the early ecumenical councils, this is actually proven otherwise. We can see how the Bishop of Rome have already exercised his authority early on in the Catholic Church.
We can look at this writing from St. Clement of Rome in 96 AD, where there was a conflict in Greece at that time, and he went in to intervene because they were ordaining people. And this was a time where Revelation was still being written. And this quote says, "If any disobey the things which have been spoken by him through us, let them know that they will involve themselves is in no small transgressions nor danger."
We can clearly see from this letter that people were subjected to the Roman bishop, because if anyone disagreed with the Roman bishop, you will be excommunicated. So you cannot just preach heresy. The church really made that very clear early on in its life after the death of Jesus.
After the Bishop of Rome went to tell them they should stop doing that, they listened. It's not like it's just some random guy walking in and telling them, "Oh, you should stop doing that." They actually listened to the Bishop of Rome. That really establishes his position at that time and even now.
Because the Bishop of Rome is not a person that gives suggestions. A Bishop of Rome is an absolute authority that if he is speaking infallibly with his God-given ability and you do not agree with it, you are automatically excommunicated from the one true church.
We can look at another writing by St. Irenaeus of Leon. And during this time, this was 180 AD, where there were a bunch of Gnostic heretics that were claiming to hold secret teachings from the apostles. Can you imagine that, Patrick? Secret teachings. The people that were with Christ, you're telling me those people know more than them?
I think we have made a video about the Gnostic gospel, right? It will be up on screen if we have.
Yes, we have. So then, Irenaeus refuted that point, and he was pointing that apostolic succession was very, very important because when it came to an unbroken line of popes, as even we can look at that now, the church that had the unbroken line of popes, which is the Catholic Church, is still together in one piece, whereas different churches who hold different points split apart.
It's like I said in a previous video, every single organization here on earth needs a central physical leader.
You can look at this word-for-word quote, which says, "For it is a matter of necessity that every church should agree with this Church of Rome, on account of its permanent authority, since the apostolic tradition has been preserved continuously by those who exist everywhere."
It's by St. Irenaeus of Lyon, teaching us how to differentiate against a church that does not have the apostolic succession from Jesus to the church that has. So we can see even in these early writings that people do acknowledge the Bishop of Rome as the absolute supreme authority over all the churches all around the globe. We can see in the first writing where the Pope writes to a heresy in Greece, and then we can see this one writing against the Gnostic gospel and basically teaching us how to differentiate from the one true church and all the other fake churches around the world. And I think these writings can also be used today in our life in 2026, because there are also a lot of false churches around the world. Take the most recent one, the SSPX movement, for example.
Yes, that was amazing, but also terrifying to show that if you go against the Bishop of Rome, which is the Pope, he can just excommunicate you. But he will never excommunicate you if you're right. He will only excommunicate you when you're doing something completely wrong.
Something that contradicts the Bible or the true traditions of the Catholic Church. And I think this authority is very essential, because without it, there will be a bunch of churches that does not agree on core teachings of Christianity.
So we can look at the Council of Chalcedon, and the historical context behind this was the monophysite heresy, and this means claiming that Christ only had one nature, caused massive division in the East, and Pope St. Leo the Great wrote a dogmatic document. It was called the Tomb of Leo, and this was defining Christ's two natures. When it was read at the Council of Chalcedon to over 600 Eastern bishops, they accepted this as a dogma. So dogma clearly states, this is the faith of the fathers. This is the faith of the apostles. Peter thus spoken through Leo. And this
I think this is the
we
most clear sign we need, right? Peter has spoken through Leo, showing apostolic succession.
It clearly shows. It goes back so many years and it's still in the Catholic Church today. I mean, our Pope now, Pope Leo, taken up a beautiful name, God bless his soul.
There's a lot of standards to live up to Pope Leo. You see Pope Leo the Great, all of these great Pope Leos, and there are a lot of standards that he have to live up to take the name Leo.
And it's just beautiful being a Pope. I mean, I understand it must be so hard for him. For me personally, I feel like I couldn't take that role, Patrick. How about you?
No, I couldn't as well. It's a very stressful role. You have to deal with a bunch of heretics and people committing heresies, and because we live in a broken world, and even in the institution, there are many things that are broken. So you have to deal with all of these, because at the end of the day, yes, the Pope has the ability to speak infallibly, but we have to keep in mind that all the cardinals, the bishops, and all of that, yes, they are helped by God, and God does help them to speak the truth. But at the end of the day, we are all humans. Unless the Pope speaks from the chair of Peter, nothing is really binding. So the Pope can write documents about science and about the environment, but it is a very important thing for us to know a distinction between just a personal letter or an ordinary letter and something being said from the chair of Peter. So, for example, let's say the Pope says something on an ecumenical council, or something that is a dogmatic teaching of the Catholic Church, or something that is found in the Bible. These things you have to 100% agree with in order to be a Catholic. For example, like the Trinity, or the teaching regarding Mary's Assumption, all of these things you have to agree with because it is an official dogma of the church, or something that's stated in a council you also have to agree with.
For the things that you don't have to agree with, let's say Papa Leo, he goes for an interview and he states, yes, I'm a White Sox fan because he likes baseball. He states, yes, I'm a White Sox fan. I'm a diehard Chicago White Sox fan. We don't have to agree with that. Or if let's say he likes football, let's say he supports Manchester United. We don't have to support Manchester United. We can support Arsenal. We can support other teams. Stuff like that. Personal opinions, his personal opinions. We do not have to exactly, yes, we must follow him for that. If you like it, if he likes it and you like it, good for you too. You can go talk to him about it. I don't think he would be against that. Then let's say he writes a letter about something. And this letter states, I personally believe that this certain country should stop doing this. Just because he says that does not mean that we have to agree. Because he is not on ex cathedra, the chair of ex cathedra, nor is he saying it infallibly.
As long as he's not teaching faith or morals, we can have our own opinions. Like, let's say he writes a letter about economics or the environment, we can disagree on that. But when he's speaking about faith and moral in the chair of ex cathedra or through a council, then it is very essential that all Catholics around the world agree with Pope Leo about that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video, and I hope today's video helped you to be more clear about what the Pope is and what is the origins of the chair of Peter. Now you can realize that the chair of Peter, the Pope being able to be infallible, is not just an invention, but it was already held and exercised very frequently against early heretics. If you did enjoy watching today's video, please leave a like and comment your thoughts down below.